This video isn't covering fan feedback for CBT2, I'll get to that video eventually, but in this video I wanted to discuss the most glaring issues that CBT2 has that I believe that if they can actually fix, we can say that Wuthering Waves is closer to the final launch than ever. I would personally believe that it's fully ready to launch, and I believe that a lot of people will be satisfied with what they have in CBT2. With that said, let's get into the video. I'll actually start off with a horse that has probably been beaten to death enough times, but it's very crucial that we talk about the ecosystem. Now, the ecosystem in itself is not flawed. We already know what the ecosystem does. If you kill an enemy in the open world, you have a chance to absorb that enemy into your gourd. And when you absorb that enemy into your gourd, you have the chance to be able to use that enemy's abilities in combat. That is awesome. And the way it's implemented, where you can go out into the open world while you're trying to unlock your map, you can also be getting the enemies that you want, is a very beautiful system. But there are flaws. For example, one of those major flaws actually comes into play when we talk about how we dispose of echoes that we don't want. So Wuthering Waves has different ranks of echoes. We have rank 1 all the way to rank 5. Rank 5 echoes being the better echoes that you would probably want. But then here's the thing. In Wuthering Waves, if you get a rank 1 echo or a rank 2 echo that you don't like, and you want to dispose of it, you don't get anything back in return. And this system doesn't actually make sense to me. Now, one way I believe that Wuthering Waves can actually fix this issue is to create either an NPC who we can go to exchange echoes that we don't want for either the currency that we use in the open world in order to upgrade our characters, our weapons, etc. Or we can exchange those echoes that we don't want for echo level up materials. Or we could trade in those echoes that we don't want in order to get other echoes of the same type, sort of like Genshin's artifact strongbox system. I think these are good ways to fix this problem, because right now, if I go out into the open world and I fill up my inventory with all of the echoes available in the open world, and then out of all of those echoes, say we have 2,000 of them, I can only use 3. Then the remaining 1,997 of them are basically just wasted because I can't even get money out of them. I can't get echo level up materials. I can't change them to other echoes. I can't use them to change the stats of other echoes. It really doesn't make sense, and I think that this way will be a good way to fix the problem. Another problem that the ecosystem has is being unable to use echoes to level up other echoes. Now, what do I mean here? Now, in Genshin Impact, you can use other artifacts to level up an artifact. So basically, you can use an artifact that you don't like, feed it into an artifact you do like, and level up that artifact to make it stronger. In Wuthering Waves, you can't do that until you get your echo up to level 5. When you get it to level 5, then you'll be able to do that. I feel like that's not a good decision to make. I feel like Wuthering Waves should actually change this around. Now, let's not get something wrong. I do not dislike the system that we have currently, where we have different materials that we can use to level up our echoes. So basically, we have dedicated materials to level up echoes. I love that system. So what I would suggest that they do is that they add in the ability to use echoes that we don't want in order to level up the echoes that we do have. Now, the caveat that I would give to this is to make it so that whenever you use an echo to level up another echo, you will receive lesser experience than you would if you were to use the dedicated XP materials. I think this is a good way to sort of balance out that, and it's also another suggestion into making it seem like our echoes that we get are not being wasted if we want to get rid of them, because right now it really doesn't make sense. Now, one other problem that it has currently is the amount of stats and substats that we can get on echoes. Now, for those of you who do not know, every captured echo you have has the ability, if you equip it to a character, to make that character stronger or weaker depending on the kind of echo that you use. And because of that, a lot of time will be spent farming echoes in order to get the proper statistics on that echo that you can use to make your character as strong as they can possibly be. But because of the way Wuthering Waves has gone about doing stats and substats, it looks like it's going to be a massive chore. Like, let me give you a rundown of how exactly it works. Whenever you get an echo in Wuthering Waves, you have two main stats. You will always have an attack percent main stat, and then the second main stat will be variable. Now, the variability of the second stat depends on the rank or the type of echo that you get. So there are three ranks of echoes. Think of them as common, elite, and boss enemies. So you can only find the variable main stat on elite enemies and boss enemies. And for elite enemies, you can have elemental damage bonus, resonance efficiency, or basically energy recharge, HP percent, attack percentage, and defense percentage. For boss enemies though, you have all of the other things that I mentioned, plus crit damage and crit rate, HP percentage, attack percentage, defense percentage, and healing bonus. And all of these are potential main stats that you can get, but we then need to talk about substats, because for substats we have attack percentage, flat attack, flat defense, defense percentage, HP percentage, flat HP, heavy attack damage percent bonus, skill damage bonus, ultimate damage bonus, fusion damage bonus. You get the idea. Like, there are a lot of stats that you can get, and it makes farming echoes very, very hard. And there is actually a very simple fix for this. It was actually suggested in one of my previous videos when I was talking about the things that fans want from CBT2. Just combine some of these stats into one thing. For example, we have different elemental damage bonus types. We have havoc damage, fusion damage, all of them. Why not just combine all of that into elemental damage bonus? So one substat or one main stat known as elemental damage bonus. And this makes it very easy to just boost the damage of any character, because it's elemental damage bonus. It automatically boosts the elemental damage of the character that you have it equipped to. That aside, we now need to talk about farming echoes in Tacet field. So basically, Wuthering Waves also has the feature where you don't have to go out into the open world to farm echoes. If you find all the echoes that you are able to find, you can now go to a special field or domain, sort of like ley lines in Genshin Impact. You fight with enemies and then you will gain some echoes in return. Now, the idea is good, but here's the problem. The value you get, or rather the amount of echoes you get for the amount of stamina that you waste, is not worth it. So basically, you waste 60 stamina in all of these fields and you have a total of 240. Whenever you get those 60, you can't even guarantee up to 3 rank 5 echoes. You can't guarantee up to, I think, 4 rank 4 echoes. Like, it's bad. It's very bad. It's not worth it. If they really want to go this route with the low drop rates for echoes, then I believe that what they should do is reduce the stamina count. So basically make it so that it's cheaper to get, so we spend a little bit more time to get more echoes, or leave the stamina count as is, but then instead increase the amount of echoes that we get per run. Now, to be clear, I have not gone over all of the issues that the ecosystem has, and it's a little annoying because the ecosystem in itself is not bad. The system is not bad. The systems that we have already are not bad. But there can still be improvements. And while we talk about things that don't make sense, let's talk about character balancing, because characters in this game are broken, especially Danjin. Now, I've had this problem since CBT1, where I've been saying that all of the characters in the game are too strong. Wuthering Waves is a game that focuses on team gameplay, teams of 3 characters, and whenever I look at gameplay, it doesn't look like as though it's worth doing any form of team gameplay. For example, you can solo a boss rather easily, and it doesn't really seem to make a difference if you swap in and out of characters. And then add in the fact that characters like Danjin are just broken because basically she loses health in order to get stronger. The more health she loses, the stronger she gets. I have to be honest, if I had Danjin, I don't see the point of getting other characters, because these characters are already so strong and they can clear everything very easily on their own. Now, here's my reasoning on this. When it comes to solo boss runs, what makes them attractive is the fact that it's normally very difficult to do a solo boss run with just one character, hence why it's a solo boss run. It's much easier to do it with multiple characters than it is to do it with one character. But from all I've seen in Wuthering Waves, and by the way, this is your disclaimer, I actually did not get into CBT 2, in case you did not know, but it's very easy to fight off most bosses, unless we're talking about the holograms. But even the holograms themselves can still be beaten rather easily with just one character. It's not made any easier if you have multiple characters on the team. And honestly, I think that this needs to be changed. The characters need to get balanced because it doesn't make sense. Danjin is a 4-star, but she out DPSs all of the current 5 stars that we have in the game. And while we talk about characters that are busted, we now need to talk about the intro and outro skills. I personally cannot believe that I'm going to be siding with Bitex on this. And if you watch one of my previous videos, you've heard me talk about how I don't see the point of the Concerto skills, but I think they should bring them back because the intro and outro skills, as they are right now, they don't make sense to me. Honestly, they do not make sense to me. Characters that are supposed to be DPS characters are basically turned into support characters because of the intro and outro skills. For example, Sanhua, one of the characters that I like in the game, gives an attack buff to the next character that is swapping into the game, not to every character in the team, which would then make it a case of me saying, okay, I'll swap out from Sanhua into another character, then back into Sanhua, since the buff applies to everyone in the team. It only applies to one person in the team. And these are little nuances. I don't really want to go into the details because the video will get extremely very long if I do, but this needs to be fixed. And I really do not believe I am saying this, but like I said before, the Concerto skills need to come back because having the switch between elements be able to give the buffs that we need makes it a whole lot easier. And then the buffs that we had then, even though they were single character buffs, you can just swap between different characters and then apply that buff to the character that you want to buff, instead of having to force a character that you like to play or the character that you want to buff to go off field because you want to buff another character. Really does not make sense to me. And this is just as important as adding the skip button to every form of media in the game, because I am very surprised that you can't actually skip every form of content in the game. Now here's the thing, when Wuthering Waves announced that there was going to be a skip button in the game, I was very excited, and I still am excited for the fact that we have a skip button in the game. We are not supposed to be excited for a skip button in a game, but that's beside the point. Now, here's the problem. You can't skip every form of story, every form of dialogue in the game, because you're only allowed to skip side character stories. You're not allowed to skip main stories. Now, for some people, this will not be a bad addition, but I really do think that this isn't nice, per se. It's not something that needs to be drastically changed, but I do feel like it's something that can be improved. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is a personal pet peeve. And a lot of people don't seem to like this. I don't know why, but I'll keep on saying it. I want voice chat in co-op. The main problem that Wuthering Waves has right now with co-op is if I want to talk to my teammates and I'm in the middle of a fight, and I want to tell them, look over here or do something here or help me out with this, I need to stop fighting. I need to open up my chat box and start to type in the middle of a fight, by the way, and the fight does not pause, and you are literally taking damage. So basically that just stops you from doing that. If you were exploring in the open world and you wanted to talk to your teammate, you have to stop, type, send it, and then continue. It doesn't make sense. Having that kind of a co-op experience and then just saying use Discord is really, really, really not nice. Even if you can use Discord, it's better to have the convenience in-game than to have to use it elsewhere, because I am very sure that it won't be that difficult for the devs to add. And I've already talked about different ways that we can limit this system. We can have it in a way that the owner of the world has global control over the microphones in the world, and they have 3 options. One is to leave the mics always on. 2 is to leave the mics off, but then you can request to turn them on. 3 is to just turn the mics off entirely. So anyone who enters your world cannot use their mics and they cannot request to have their mics turned on. We can also have an extra option where only your friends, when they enter the world, will be able to use the mics. So no matter what the global setting is, so if your global setting is no mics on, you can have a setting where it says, but then if your friends enter the world, they can use their mics. These are different ways that you can stop any other form of abuse of the system. Because if we keep on saying that this system should not be here because of the potential abuse of that system, then a lot of the things that we have right now will not be the case. If we use that same argument, we would also see we wouldn't be using the internet, because the internet can be used for all manner of evil things. The argument of saying that it has flaws and can be abused doesn't make sense. If it can be abused, just add in ways to stop the abuse of the system and then leave it to the users to be able to use that. Those are just my thoughts. I know I didn't put them out properly. I wish I could, but I know I didn't do a good job on that. But either way, those are things that I think that Wuthering Waves should fix. Now, there's one more thing I need to talk about, and this is more for people who actually watch my content. That's why I have it at the end of the video. Azure Premilia has just been announced, and that game looks very, very interesting to me. It looks very, very promising. I already talked about it on Twitter. But at the same time, when I started off this channel, the idea that I had was to have only 2 games to cover on the channel. I don't want to have multiple games being covered on one channel, because I personally think that it's too much. And at that point, people find it hard to associate what game is what to your channel. And I don't want to be a variety channel just yet. So I was thinking if I should create another channel just for Azure Premilia, because my second channel is already delegated to playing story mode of any game that I play on my main channel. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What's your suggestion? Do you guys think I should just create another channel, or should I just incorporate Azure Premilia into this channel? Let me know your thoughts down below. And with that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.